Hello everyone and welcome back to Code with Lisa channel and to our Java tutorial series. Today I will talk about two-dimensional and ragged arrays. I'm continuing with this topic of arrays, so let's not waste any time and get started. A two-dimensional array in Java is an array of arrays, meaning that each cell contains a reference to another array. However, it's much easier to think of as a table or matrix which has a specified number of rows. This is the first dimension, and specified number of columns. So this is the second dimension. I have drawn a table like this, and here you see rows and columns forming cells. You should also visualize two-dimensional arrays in this way. It's important to remember that just like in an one-dimensional array, the counting of rows and columns starts from 0, not from 1. So if I want to access this element, it will have the indexes 0 and 0, so not 1 and 1. If I want to access this 7, for example, I will use the indexes 2 and 3. Note that rows come first, followed by columns. And now let's move on to the practice. To declare a multidimensional array variable, specify each additional index using another set of square brackets. For example, the following declares a two-dimensional array variable called 2D. So this allocates a 4 by 5 array and assigns it to 2D. And you can imagine this array like this table. It's empty, of course, like this table because I didn't put any data inside. The principle of filling an array is exactly the same as with a one-dimensional array. To fill this array with a number, for example, we need to access a specific row and column. We will discuss a simpler and faster way to fill arrays in our next lesson about loops. And for now, let's just print our 7, which has the indexes 2 for the row and 3 for the column. As you can see, this way we get our value. What do you think will happen if we try to access an initialized cell? In my case, it will output 0. But be very careful with this because it can lead to data leaks. Since the compiler does not give an error, you might not notice it in the future. However, if we try to access an unallocated cell, for example, by accessing the 8th column, the compiler will give us an error. This is actually better because it helps us to understand that the program has crashed and prevents us from providing incorrect data to the user. Right now we are just dealing with numbers, but in the future this could be, for example, the balance on someone's bank account. And now I want to tell about a ragged or jagged arrays in Java. So I would like to start by showing you a diagram. So I'm going to paint. As you can see, this is a jagged or ragged array, and this is a two-dimensional array where each row can have a different number of columns. This allows for more flexible memory allocation. As you can see in the first row, I have 2 columns. In the second row, there are 3 columns, and so on. The structure is meant to resemble a ragged array. To be honest, I haven't encountered such an array in practice before, but it definitely exists. Naturally, it can store any type of data. So now let's look at how you can create such an array in a practice. In order to understand it, let's clean this code and let's write new one. First of all, I want to declare a size of array. So let's name it int rows is 3. And let's create the ragged array. In order to make it, I write in 2 square brackets ragged array is new int, and here in the first square brackets I need to declare the rows, and the second will be empty because as you can see here, we don't know how many columns will be in each row. Okay, so and in order to initialize the subarrays with different lengths, we can write the following code. For example, ragged array 0, as you can remember, is new int, and in order to make 2 columns, I have to write here new int 2 columns. In the same way, I will fill the whole array. Three and 4. Okay, so here I allocated the memory for this array, and now I need to fill the array with data. So I can do this with indexes. As you can see here, I write 0, 0 because in informatic we start to count with 0, and this one has the cell 0, 0. Okay. So that's the first one. Then and the last row. Here I have 4 columns. So okay, and now let's see how it works. So I'll just print it. Okay, so here you can see the structure of the jagged array, and now let's see it in console. Yes, so here we can see our metrics. Sorry, I forgot here to correct the values, but I think that it's not so important. But what if you want to reach the cell that doesn't allocate it? So let's see. For example, ragged array 0, 2. In this situation, we receive the arrow, the exception, so index 2 out of bounds for length 2. So we can't, of course, to get the value from this cell of memory. That concludes today's lesson. However, I'm not finished with this topic. I will cover it in more detail with example in the upcoming lessons, where we will speak about loops and so on. So thank you for watching. See you soon. Bye bye.